this Tottenham team into the top 5 if they carry on this type of form. Well, we can hear from the Tottenham boss now.
First win in the last 7 matches in all competitions. Harry Kane back to the score sheet, clean sheet. So many positives out of this game to build on. What did you make of it?
Yeah, the 3 points, of course, are very important for us, crucial for us. Without these 3 points, we would be really in a position in the table where we had to wait for many results until the end. Very important, these 3 points. The clean sheet obviously was important for the confidence of the team at that level. Before the lockdown, we were conceding goals after goals after goals, and in these 2 matches we conceded 1 goal on a penalty. So big improvements at that level. Then of course we played against a team with a coach that has a lot of experience. He knows how to organize the team defensively. The team was really strong and compact, and it was difficult for us to find spaces in the second half. As we could imagine, with a little bit of fatigue, the game breaks a little bit more. We had space, and then I'm really happy for Harry to be in the face of the keeper and to score his goal. Very important also for his confidence.
You've got more options today with Dele Alli and Lucas Moura's back. How important is that for you and for the team in general?
You know, allowed me to have 2 attacking players on the bench at the same time. Also Giovanni Lo Celso was in conditions to play from the start. So our bench today was rich. It was a bench full of good options, and helped me to try to give more intensity. And then when we were winning, I had a player like Winks on the bench to bring some stability to the team. Good squads are very important.
Sheffield United, Everton, Bournemouth, the next 3 for Tottenham.
Yes, they could do it. They could. That's not the big 5, so they have an option. You know, they have confidence. You can see Kane. You know, he was really happy, you know, to score. It's just, you know, to get that team still a bit more compact. You know, don't forget Bowen hit the post. You know, Fonal could have scored. You know, Antonio had some on the break. You know, over the top. So, but they're getting there. You know, they create chances. You know, they're very fast. They're much quicker, much more tempo and rhythm, and that's good. You know, that's what I like. Yeah.
They're the key words there, tempo and rhythm, which is exactly what we didn't see in the early game between Leicester and Brighton. Barely a shot on Mourinho. That was his 300th win in English club football. Do you think that'll be particularly pleasing for him, Didier, given that 1 or 2 people are starting to question the special one lately?
Yes, you know, just give it some time. You know, it's just, you know, it just came. You know, they had the break, you know, since the restart, you know, it's Man United. Okay, it wasn't the best game, but today we've seen a really good Tottenham side. You know, a lot of crosses for Moye on the side, very lively, very energetic. You know, Kane, Harry Kane, you know, scored, so they didn't concede.
Harry had to score, didn't he, after Jose's press conference yesterday, when he listed all the players who've scored in his company, and it was an all-round display from Harry Kane tonight as well.
Yes. All the front 3, front 4, you know, even Lamela when he came on, you know, Lucas Moura, and they were all very good today. And then this counter, you know, attack was very quick, and then he scored. You know, his execution was very good. I must say, you know, in the build-up they were good. You know, all the time 3, but Aurier on the right, Song on the left, and Davis as well coming. They were the better team. They really deserved that win. You know, I mean, even, you know, on the last third they were good, and they could have scored even more. You know, with Aurier at the end of the game. You know, Bergwijn as well is always lively. So it's a Tottenham, you know, who's looking good now.
Do you think Jose needed that tonight, Paul?
Yeah, I think so. That's like first win in 8 games. So the form going into tonight hasn't been great. I thought they were excellent tonight. It's one of the better performances that I've seen them under Jose. And the most pleasing thing, other than the win for Jose tonight, will be the clean sheet. That's only their 5th clean sheet of the season. And it's something that Jose is famed for with his teams. They're very difficult to beat. They're notoriously...
Couple of chances, but really clear chances with Fornals, I think. Bowen hit the post, and they just conceded after in the second half. They just clear chances with Fornals, I think. Bowen hit the post, and they just conceded after in the second half. They just break, and for the relegation battle, you have to have those clean sheets like Brighton. Not collapse, but of course you have to attack, you leave spaces, and that's what happened with the goal of Kane. But it's a bit roy, yeah. The battle is going to be until the end, with Bournemouth, Watford, and all the teams. Yeah.
Paul, what do you think's happened to Felipe Anderson? When he first came to West Ham, looked like he could dominate games. Tonight, barely noticed him when he looked like he could dominate games. Tonight, barely noticed him when he came on.
No, he's been poor of late, and he's been in and out of the team. Like you say, when few chances. But when you look at that tonight, you actually, Fornals, the opportunity that he had, he's a better player than that. He's technically a lot better player, and he should have done better. The chance that Jarrod Bowen had was a brilliant chance. He hit it off the post. When Lloris made a real mess of the cross, Antonio really caused him a problem. There were signs there for David Moyes. He's got players, he's got a lot of quality players in attack. But at the moment, he hasn't got much time left.
Indeed.
We didn't really get into our stride. Difficult game. A lot of very strange decisions going on, halting the kind of flow to the game. But not quite good enough from us.
Is there a little bit? It's early days still, isn't it? After a long break, is there still a little bit of ring rustiness? Do you think?
I think it's just a case of getting back into the swing of things and obviously adapting to the surroundings. Obviously much different weather conditions to what we usually play in. The pitches dry up very quick, so it's hard to kind of get the ball to flow. But it's obviously the same for both teams. But we're not going to make any excuses. We need to be better.
Looking back over the course of the 90 minutes, a very important contribution as it turned out for yourself. Tell us about the penalty. You looked like you knew which way you wanted to go with that one.
Listen. Chose a direction, and luckily it went there.
Was there anything in Mopé's run-up that gave you a hint of which way he might go?
No.
No, fair enough. So, how will the players look back on this 90 minutes overall, do you think?
I think we'll look at it with certain reservations that it wasn't quite up to our standard. We'll take the positives in the sense that we keep a clean sheet, and it's another point which could prove valuable. But obviously we have to look at how we're performing, because we had a really good performance, I thought, against Watford, and then obviously lost it right at the end. Not lost it, we drew, but it felt like a loss. But yeah, it's a case of looking at ourselves and making sure that we do everything right.
Casper, appreciate your time.
Cheers, thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, if we're honest, that early game was disappointing. The first 45 in North London has been much better.
Yes, much more tempo, much more rhythm. You can see from the start, that Tottenham, they wanted to utilize the width, with Aurier and Song on the left, build up with three, and sometimes you have a couple of shots, from outside the box. You had a couple of crosses for Aurier, and then Davis at the end of the first half. So they were quite dangerous, and we saw, they had scored, with Song, but. Just so they were the better team on the pitch, definitely. West Ham defended, of course, 4-5-1. They're all over the pitch, but still, sometimes when they can create spaces, they're all over there. They saw it was a goal. It was well delivered, good dribble. Get inside and get that shot. Unfortunately, it was offside.
The way they measure offside these days, Paul, we can't argue, it's fact. But that was frustrating, wasn't it?
Really frustrating, and I think that's the frustrating part about VAR that we've quite often talked about. When you look at it from the angle we've just seen there, you can't be certain when Lo Celso made contact with the ball because Dele Alli was blocking the angle of the camera. You're literally dealing with millimetres. You like to think they get the majority of the decisions right, whether they draw the lines in the right place, that they get the connection of the ball in the right place, but you just can't be sure. I mean, that for me is far too tight to call.
So when I said we can't argue about it, actually you are going to argue about it.
There's definitely a case to argue. As I say, especially when you see it from the wider angle, when you see Dele Alli is actually blocking the camera angle's view of when Lo Celso makes contact with the ball. If they stop the camera fractionally early, Son may be a millimetre back onside. These calls are far too close to be absolutely 100% correct, even with that technology.
Hey, Robbo. Well, either way, the referee decided...
You can't see where he's connecting with the ball.
A millimetre either way, and Son may have been on. What about the rest of the half? Because I thought Tottenham's first 45 looked really, really on it. Lucas Moura had a couple of really good chances.
Yeah, I thought they were slow starting. You've got to give West Ham credit the way that they started. I thought they played with a bank of 4 and a bank of 5 out of possession. They played reasonably well, attacked well down the left-hand side of Cresswell. It took Spurs a little while to get going. West Ham restricted them to shots from distance, but the longer the half went on, the more Spurs started coming into it. Harry Kane started dropping deeper, getting involved with the ball. Serge Aurier's played most of the half as a right winger. Spurs playing with 3 at the back. You can see it's coming for Spurs. This is a brilliant ball by Davies across the front of the goal, and Moura should do better here. He's just pulled it, he's missed it by some distance. It's an opportunity that you'd expect him to do better. Spurs had 2 or 3 great opportunities towards the edge, towards the end of the half, and you would expect them to continue the way they are and to take the lead in the second half.
I was a bit worried about Spurs before the break, Paul. It felt like they were drifting, that it was all going a little bit flat, but that break has allowed them to get the likes of Harry Kane, Dele Alli, Son all fit, Lucas Moura fit, and actually maybe it could actually benefit Spurs in this last month of the season.
I think you look across the Premier League, and out of all the teams, Spurs probably have benefited the most from the break, as in getting their injured players back. The 2 key players, Harry Kane and Son, they've got no real direct cover for Harry Kane. Son is the cover for him. He's out of the squad. It's huge that they've missed Ben Davies as well. They've had a chance to get players fit, and we also forget that Son was able to do his national service during this time. And I'm very, very surprised that Harry Kane's actually managed to play 90 minutes on Friday, and he starts the game again tonight, and he's come through 45 minutes very well. It'll be interesting to see whether he lasts 90 minutes tonight because of the changes that Jose's made tonight. He's got Bergwijn, Fernandes on the bench, Lamela on the bench. He's got options where he can actually change it. It's a